Hey, great to have you here for episode 40 of the We Are Recreated podcast. These days we're running on a bunch of different tracks. We've been on the road preaching and leading worship. We've been leading a study through the book of Titus out of our home. We've been recording original music, and now we're just a few days away from a trip to Bulgaria to share Jesus with people there who need hope and grace. And that's just the ministry side of life. It doesn't count things like homeschooling and family life and all the everyday stuff that keeps us busy. I'm sure you know what that's like. Life is full, right? With family, kids, friends, house, work, recreation, everything else that makes up life. There's no end to the opportunity to invest our time and our energy and our money and our resources into things. And so lately here at home, we've been led to ask this simple but essential question again and again. How are we going to accomplish all of these things? And what that really means is, are we going to do all this stuff in our own strength, or are we going to turn our attention to Jesus so that he can accomplish something through us? We're asking the question, are we going to live in the power of the Holy Spirit, or are we going to live by walking according to our flesh, as the Bible puts it? You know, as believers, we always have the option in front of us. Are we going to live by faith? Are we going to live by depending on the risen Jesus who lives in us? Or are we going to figure things out in our own wisdom, strength, and effort? That's what the Bible calls our flesh. Now, one of the illustrations that we use to depict the difference between living according to our flesh versus walking in the Spirit starts with the humble duck. Have you ever seen a duck floating down the river? Looks pretty calm and mellow and well suited to the environment, but often under the surface, that duck's little legs are paddling, right? Those webbed feet, they're moving to get the duck where it wants to go, and then the duck is ready for takeoff, and it's a flurry of activity and wings and wiggles. It's flapping and it's frenzy. Maybe you know people who are a bit like this, who look pretty calm and cool and collected on the surface, but the effort that it takes to make life go the way that they want it to, that effort is monumental. Well, that might be a good picture of walking after the flesh, wiggling around like a little duck. But let me introduce you to the mighty albatross. Here's a bird with a nearly 12-foot wingspan, specially designed by God to lock in place so that they can soar effortlessly for hours at a time. They're born on remote islands, and then they spend years over open ocean water, covering thousands and thousands of miles as they glide through the air, stopping sometimes to rest and eat on the surface of the sea. But it's a totally different experience for this enormous bird than it is for the duck. It's effortless. It can be like that for us as we go through life. You know, when we trust our own strength and ability, we experience the results of walking after our flesh, frustration and disappointment and exhaustion. But when we live and we move in the strength of the Holy Spirit, man, it's like God is teaching us to soar. That's what Isaiah 40 talks about. You've probably heard this famous verse before. It says, "They who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." Sometimes when we hear that word renew, we think about refreshing or revitalizing something that's already in use. Kind of like topping up your windshield washer fluid or recharging your phone. Thing is, God's not interested in bolstering our self-effort. He's not interested in empowering our flesh. And so in the original Hebrew that this verse was written in, the idea of renewing something is actually more like taking off one coat and putting on a different one. It's talking about exchanging something old for something new. That's such a great picture of God's heart. That's how he is towards us, that we would exchange our strength for his, that we would exchange our limited wisdom for his limitless wisdom, that we would exchange our ability, which is limited, for his supernatural ability. Just like Paul was told, "My grace is sufficient for you because my power is perfected in your weakness." That's 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9. You know, as we exchange our striving and our self-effort for the empowering of the Holy Spirit, the result is that we soar like an eagle or an albatross. We run and we don't get weary. We walk through all the things that life brings along, and we're strengthened and sustained and moved by the wind of the Holy Spirit so that we don't burn out, we don't get exhausted, we don't fall apart. And so the simple encouragement for you today, for this week, for this month, as you live your life by faith in Jesus, wait on him and exchange your strength for his. In all your comings and goings, trust him and rely on him to be all the grace and wisdom and patience and strength that you need, because He's got you. Hey, if you're not already on this adventure with us, we'd love for you to take that quick second to tap the subscribe button just so you won't miss future episodes of the podcast. And here's the question of the day. Have you ever experienced God carrying you through something you couldn't handle on your own? Share it with us in the comments and let's make Jesus famous together. And until we see you next time, remember, we are recreated.